Right now, tragedy at the Fort Lauderdale airport.
At least 5 people are dead, 8 more wounded after a gunman started shooting.
That gunman is now in custody, but his motive is still unclear. We have video now from Fort Lauderdale Airport, which is shut down at the moment. There is a shelter-in-place order there right now, and travelers are scattered across the airport, many of them on the tarmac right now. Others have been seen walking away with their hands up. We want to get straight over to Louis Bolden. He is live in the newsroom. He has been following all of these developments as they've been coming into our newsroom. Louis, what's the latest?
Well, ladies, this story is changing by the minute. We're hearing this happened at a baggage claim where people were bunched up. The gunman started shooting. At this point, 5 people are dead, 8 more wounded, and the gunman is in custody. Now, these are pictures just into the newsroom from the baggage claim. If you look in the background, you can see one victim covered in a tarp. Other pictures show the entire baggage area blocked off with crime scene tape as deputies investigate. Another picture shows a gun on the ground. Now, it is not clear at this point if that is the gun used in the shooting. The scene outside was just terrifying to watch. This video just in from outside the airport. You can see people crouching behind a car, ducking for cover. Others could be seen scurrying across the tarmac or near train tracks, some running, others walking with their hands up. We're starting to hear more about the person who pulled the trigger from Florida Senator Bill Nelson. Here's what he told reporters a short time ago.
He was carrying a military ID. We don't know if that's active, if that's another family member's ID. We'll have to determine that. And of course, we don't know a motive at this point. But you've heard the reports that from the eyewitnesses, when he finished 3 magazines, he just sat down, and then the law enforcement apprehended him.
And so the feeling right now is that it was totally random?
Well, we don't know. This could well be someone who is mentally deranged, or in fact, it could be someone who had a much more sinister motive that we have to worry about every day.
Now listen to this. A short time ago, a Broward County commissioner posted on Facebook that the gunman checked a gun for an Air Canada flight, then picked it up from the baggage claim. That commissioner says the gunman then went to a bathroom to load his weapon and then came out firing. But at this point, a motive for this mass shooting remains unknown. And for now, the Fort Lauderdale airport remains closed and a shelter in place remains in effect. Ladies, back to you.
Yeah, and Louis, real quickly, I know you've been following this. CBS News reporting the name of this gunman, 26-year-old Esteban Santiago, who was apparently born in New Jersey, and as we just heard Senator Nelson mention, has apparently a military ID. There were concerns that there might be a second situation going on at the airport, but at this point, it doesn't seem to be that that's happening, correct?
Yes, we did hear that there could be a second situation. We didn't know if that was just if people were concerned after the first situation and then on high alert and that people overreacted. So we haven't heard that there was an active second location to worry about. At this point, what we're hearing that there was just one person involved in this. Lisa?
All right, Louis Bolden reporting live for us. Again, CBS News reporting it is 26-year-old Esteban Santiago, a man who is now in custody. Thank you, Louis. And security, as you can imagine, is now being increased at Orlando International Airport and airports across the country. These are live pictures from OIA, where airport leaders say they are increasing security, vigilance, and monitoring as passengers continue to move through.
And joining us on the phone now is Larry Dale. He is the former CEO of the Orlando Sanford International Airport. Larry, hello, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine, yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. First question, this has to be a nightmare scenario for someone who was formerly in your position.
Oh,
Tell us how vulnerable the baggage claim area of airports really are.
Well, of course, the baggage claim area is not inside what's known as the security area, the passenger screening area. So it's open to the public for those that are flying and not flying to come in and pick people up, help them with their baggage. You know, although we have law enforcement around the airport all the time. So.
And Mr. Dale, we are hearing that from a Broward County commissioner who is telling CBS News that this man actually boarded an Air Canada flight, checked a gun, and then when he arrived in Fort Lauderdale, possibly went into a bathroom, loaded his gun. People are allowed to check guns in their luggage, correct?
Well, they have to declare the weapon, and they have to sign a statement, you know, that they're responsible for it. It has to be unloaded, and ammunition has to be, you know, separate. It has to be in a locked, hard case. Now, you know, once he gets to his destination, he picks that up and takes it out, but that wouldn't be any different than somebody bringing in a suitcase that hadn't been checked yet and having a gun in it.
And tell us a little more about when you were CEO at Sanford International Airport, did you guys have to have drills where a scenario like this one would play out? And what was the protocol for that? Because we're looking at images of people being sent outside, they're going to the tarmac. What was the situation if something like that had happened while you were CEO?
Well, as far as training, yes, we have in all airports across the country, especially international airports, have normal routine training drills, both live drills and tabletop drills on a regular basis. And of course, there are people at airports that have security clearance, and we get intelligence briefings on a normal basis. And anything that happens around the world that might possibly be a scenario at the airport, we get briefed on. We train for those things constantly with multi-agencies. Not only law enforcement, but fire and rescue and volunteer organizations like the Red Cross, of course, at the state level. And the FBI gets involved in these things, as well as TSA and Homeland Security. We would immediately open a joint command center with an incident commander. What was the second part of that question?
Well, you know, we see the people going out to the tarmac. Is that the best place for them to be? Because they seem very exposed out there as well.
Well, that's a question for airport operations and the Joint Command and the Incident Commander. They have to make a call about, number one, how quickly an area can they get them to, and how safe will it be for them. So that's a call that has to be made, and of course law enforcement are out there with them, as well as airport operations trained personnel, TSA personnel. You know, we have an FBI agent in charge assigned to each airport. They're immediately brought into it. So immediately a joint command center is set up with an incident commander, because there are multiple agencies involved, as you can imagine, not only for evacuation but for traffic control, shutting the airport down, making sure nothing goes out or comes in. And keeping people around that the law enforcement are going to need to interrogate.
All right. Sure. Mr. Dale, thank you so much for joining us. We probably will keep in touch with you throughout tonight as the situation continues to unfold. Larry Dale, former CEO of the Sanford International Airport, joining us live on the phone now. Thank you, sir. All right, if we have live pictures available, we're going to go back out to those pictures from the Fort Lauderdale airport. And as you might imagine, very tense situation. You can still see the people from the baggage claim area out on the tarmac. And at this point, this is what we know. There are 5 people dead, 8 people wounded. The gunman has been tentatively identified as 26-year-old Esteban Santiago from New Jersey. He is in custody. We understand from an eyewitness that he loaded his pistol at least 3 times. And then someone said he stopped shooting when he ran out of bullets and then just eventually surrendered. Of course, we're going to keep a close eye on this. News 6 reporter Vanessa Ariza is on her way to Fort Lauderdale right now. As soon as she arrives, we will check in with her about the situation when she arrives.
A sad situation happening there today. You can also follow the very latest on this story online at clickorlando.com, powered by News 6, and on your smartphone or tablet with our free News 6 app. Just search WKMG in your app store.